What's going on, guys? Arsenal versus Stoke. What a shocker. We got off to a confident start in that match, and that kind of reassured me that, you know what, today's going to be a good day. But in typical Arsenal fashion, it went downhill really fast. It only took 3 minutes for our midfield to open up like a porn star's legs, and Czech had to come up with a massive save against Hesse. Or Jesse, however his name is pronounced, I don't care, okay? And after that, things settled down a bit, and we took control of the game. Stoke were getting caught by a chipped pass over their defense on multiple occasions, but the final ball from us, it was so disappointing. I mean, my cat put in a better final ball, and I don't even have a cat. And after that, things were going back and forth between both teams. It was an open match until Diouf decides to take a nap on the pitch. I mean, yeah, he made a great run and probably got tired a little bit, but he completely refused to get up until the ball was kicked out. This guy plays football for a living. I find that hard to believe. Kids, if you ever doubt your abilities, watch this man. He cannot even run the length of the pitch, and he's playing professional football in the Premier League. If he can do it, you can too. And then the second half starts and Granit Xhaka makes a terrible pass. Ozil, rather than tracking back, decides to throw a tantrum instead, and Montreal is just strolling around in the park. Because why would you be focused in a Premier League match? And Jesse Rodriguez capitalizes with a world-class finish. Kudos to him. Shocking start from us. Time goes on and Wenger starts to get desperate, like I am desperate for views on my videos. And after his subs, we probably had more players playing out of position than in position. But you know what? It worked, because Lacazette smashed the ball into the back of the net, only to realize that Linesman had suddenly developed superpowers to see the play in slow motion and then detect millimeters of offside. Where was this level of refereeing when Bellerin was brought down in the box? Huh? Hey ref, I'm talking to you. Anyways, it was a terrible performance all around the park. In terms of individual players, let's talk about guys who I think were so poor that they make my videos look world-class. And at the top of the list, for me, has to be Mustafi. I was surprised to see him in the starting 11. He hadn't played since the Confederations Cup, so I was expecting that he'd be eased into the play as a sub, perhaps. Also, he was the only center back playing in our back three, which made no sense at all. I mean, per Mertesacker, he might be slow as molasses, but the guy is a fighter and a leader. And we lacked that leadership at the back. Mustafi, Montreal, Ox, Bellerin, Kolasinac, none of these guys are leaders. And we needed someone like Per on the field alongside Mustafi, someone who could bark orders, organize the team, and motivate them to put up a fight. We just did not have that presence at the back. Next up on the list is Granit Xhaka. Now, very early on in the game, his passing looked dangerous. And by that, I mean dangerous for the opponents, not for us. But as the first half went on, I felt like he got sloppier and sloppier, and he was once again at fault for the goal that we conceded. So far, we've conceded 5 goals this season, and I generally believe 3 of them have been results of his mistakes. If he's going to be this risky and sloppy, we're going to need a proper DM alongside him. Unfortunately, the only proper DM we have is Coquelin, who, when in form, is superb, but when off beat, he's a massive liability as well. The other player who I thought was very disappointing was Hector Bellerin. I personally did not expect him and both Ox to start. He had a shocker as far as I'm concerned. In the 20th minute, Jesse Rodriguez sent him back to the Barcelona Academy days. And going forward, he did not offer a whole lot, and he missed a couple of very good chances. Both of them were created by Ozil, who I'll talk about in a little bit here. But for me, his performance has been constantly declining, and he needs to be benched, in my opinion. It's Danny Welbeck. I'm just so mad at this guy. You have no idea. He works hard, he's got strength, pace, determination, passion. But when the ball reaches his feet in front of goal, this is him. Okay? And this guy couldn't finish off a wank if his life depended on it. Ozil picks out a perfect pass. He's completely unmarked. No one around him. Easy, open header with only the keeper to beat. And he doesn't even properly get his head on it. The shot actually came off of his shoulder and was off target. And for some reason, Arsene Wenger wants to sell Lucas Perez, but he really wants to hold on to this guy. It's shocking. Now let's take a moment to talk about Mesut Ozil. Ozil has been getting slaughtered in the social media for this performance, and depending on who you're following, you either think that we should sell him ASAP, or you think he's the German Zidane. Now for me, in this match, I think he was good. Not great, not excellent, and definitely not world class, but I think he was good. Now his role at the club primarily is to create chances for other players, and he did that. We were just talking about how the incredible Danny Welbeck, he missed an open header from an inch perfect pass from Ozil. Welbeck wasn't the only one. Bellerin wasted a couple of chances created by Ozil, one of them after brilliant feed from Ozil. Now, do we expect more from him? Yes, he's our main man, and I think he needs to bring more to the table. But in this match, Ozil was not the problem. We did not lose because he created nothing. He did his part. The finishing wasn't there. Other players who I felt played well and deserve a shout out, Peter Cech's got to be on that list for me. Cech has been on the decline like Donald Trump's approval ratings. However, in this match, he came up with a couple of massive saves for us, one of them early on in the game. The goal that was conceded wasn't his fault. He could not have done much more. Well, he could have saved it, but we see those shots go in all the time. I don't think he was at the fault in this match. I personally was very encouraged by his confidence and command in the box. Hopefully this is a start of return to form for our number one keeper. And the last player that I want to give a shout out to is Ramsey. Now if you follow me on Twitter, which you absolutely should, okay? But if you follow me on Twitter, you know that I don't like this guy. But in this match, I think he was by far our best player on the pitch. He made intelligent runs, he showed great vision when passing, and he looked very threatening. Now one thing with Ramsey is that whenever he plays, he does like to go for glory, and he will leave holes in the midfield. However, in this match, going forward, he brought such a threat with his game that you gotta give kudos to him for that performance. Okay, let's talk about key takeaways from this game. The first and the big one for me is that Xhaka-Ramsey pivot is a disaster. Both of these guys have weaknesses that expose our midfield. Xhaka can be extremely sloppy and risky with his passing. Ramsey tends to get caught out of position a lot. I think we need a proper DM sitting besides these guys in order to have a real shot at success here. Unfortunately, like I mentioned earlier, Coquelin's the only option, and he has fallen down the depth chart quite a bit. Even El Neni can get the job done, but he's not a proper DM in my opinion. This is one area that needs to be addressed, but probably won't be. If Arsene Wenger has to do something, or still has plans for this transfer window, he really needs to look hard at that center midfield. That tweet explains it out really. I mean, we paid 50 million for a striker, and when we need a goal, guess what Arsene Wenger does? He takes that guy off, but leaves Danny Welbeck, who makes tap-ins look difficult. The other takeaway for me is that I feel Arsene Wenger is trying to accommodate certain players who don't quite fit into this formation, and that's causing problems. Look at Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and Hector Bellerin, for example. I don't think both of them should be starting, and I know a lot of you agree, but we keep Wenger trying to somehow shoehorn both of these guys into this formation, and that's causing a lot of trouble. Wenger's hands might be tied a little bit here. Barcelona came in for Hector in the summer, and they tried to turn his head, but Wenger convinced him to stay, and maybe the part of the deal, he's been promised a certain amount of game time. And same thing kind of applies to Oxlade-Chamberlain as well. If we have any hope of retaining him, he needs to play. If he's on the bench, he's not going to sign that contract. So I don't know how much flexibility Wenger has there, but it's definitely not working out having both of the guys on the field at the same time. Why do we have 4 wing backs making up our back 5 and only 1 center back in our back 3? And this is happening while Holding, Per, and Chambers, they're all available to play. Get those guys in, man. And if you think they're not good enough, then sign Van Dijk. It's nonsensical to have so many defenders playing out of position and expecting to win away from home in the Premier League. And with that, I conclude the second episode of AFC Fancast. Please hit the like button, comment, subscribe, and share. I'm putting in a lot of hard work and I appreciate your feedback. So both your positive and negative feedback, don't hesitate to share that with me. Let's hope we see a better result against Liverpool, guys. Take care.